Hi, I'm Toby van Reenen, a senior researcher at the CSR. My colleagues and I have developed an online mobile risk assessment platform. It's a building risk operation and design assessment tool, and we like to call it BROAD. I'd like to just give you a quick overview of the platform. I'm going to run through the purpose of the application with you and explain to you how to register as a user of the application. And then we're going to go through some of the aspects of the mobile app and the usage of the app. Also want to describe a bit of hardware that is required in addition to your cell phone, which is a CO2 sensor. And then also we'll just give you some details for contacting us and giving us feedback with your applications and use of the service. The purpose or the reason for us developing this application is to give you a mobile solution so that you can go out into the field, go to your facilities and do risk assessments on a unified platform using a standard set of tools. Being mobile, it allows you to travel far and perform these assessments quickly and easily. The platform is also extensible, so as we get feedback from you, the users, we can upgrade the risk assessments, the questionnaires, and the whole toolkit remotely, so that it deploys automatically for you on your app in the field. Similarly, the system is agile. We can make changes fairly quickly, and the reporting happens automatically. To be able to use the system, you'll need to register an account. Account registration is currently done by an email application to us at the CSR at broadinfo@csr.co.za. On receipt of that request, and assuming you have done the correct training on the risk assessments, which you are currently doing, we will add you to the system as a user and assign the correct rights to you. Once you have been given a username and password, you can log on to the online portal through a browser at broadapp.csr.co.za. New users will receive a confirmation email with login and password details, just confirming that you have been loaded onto the system. And in order to log in, you need to agree to the terms and conditions. Obviously, they are compulsory. They're privacy terms and conditions, and relate to how we use the data that you collect, and also how you retain your personal data. When you log into the system for the first time, that is login on the web portal, you'll just need to confirm your details as they were captured by us, and also change your password on first login. So what you do is on the page, top right hand side, you will see your name. Click the little drop down arrow and it'll open up a little option box where you can select my profile. If you receive at any point an error saying that you don't have permission to access that part of the system, it relates to the permissions that you were granted. If you believe that something has gone wrong and you don't have the permissions you need to do your work, just contact us and we'll address it for you. So when you've opened up your profile, you'll see it appear on the screen with your title, your name, surname, email address, and your status, whether you're an active user of the system. Just click on Edit Profile, and you can update your details. Just check the details that have been captured for you. First, check your email details are correct. Then change the default password that has been created for you to a unique password, and then just hit Update to save your changes. It is important to have the correct email address captured in the system at all times. If you change your email address or want to use a different email address, you can do it. You can change it yourself. The reason it's important is the email addresses are used as your username and also for the delivery of the reports of your assessments. Once you've updated your details, you might be interested in some of the additional features on the web portal. On the left-hand side, you'll see a navigation page. The navigation page shows the different pages within the website that you can access. These levels of access may differ from user to user. The little hamburger button over there hides or unhides this navigation pane. So if you don't see the navigation pane, just hit the hamburger button or the menu button to get back to it. This section allows you to view completed assessments. Your personal details can be updated in this section, or as I showed you previously, in your profile. Your privacy policy and our terms and conditions can be viewed here, and the last little button is just to log you out of the system when you're finished working on it. The broad assessment system is essentially made up of two software components. The one is the online database and web portal, and the other component is the mobile application. The mobile application is used for data collection in the field, while the web portal and database is used for the development of the forms or standard questionnaires, which are downloaded to your cell phone, to the mobile application, and then the results of the assessments that you conduct are uploaded back into the online database. The questionnaires that you are completing are done on standard forms, which are developed on the web portal for you by CSR admin staff. And then another component is a hardware CO2 meter, which is used for real-time environmental assessments. And this gives you access to estimating ventilation rates, per person ventilation rates in the spaces that you're evaluating. The app is called the Broad Facility Assessment Tool. It can be downloaded from the Google Android Play App Store. It's currently available on Android only, but an iOS version has been developed and it will be released soon. You should just search for Broad Facility Risk, should bring it up. This is just a snapshot from the App Store. This must be done on your phone. So open the App Store on your phone, search for Broad Facility Risk and install the application. So download it, install it, and then open it. Allow the permissions. The permissions that are going to be requested are location permissions, and these are needed for mapping and for Bluetooth interface. Just allow the permissions. It requests location permissions, and it's part of the assessment. So please allow that. Also check for app updates frequently. We are already developing new features, and these will be rolled out in due course. When you open the app, it will ask you to sign in using your supplied credentials. These are the same credentials that you signed in, your same username and password that you used on the web portal. The first time you open the app, all the form templates will synchronize to the app. It will also resynchronize every time you select the home page in the application. The data usage in the system is quite small, so you needn't worry too much about massive data consumption on mobile. However, if this is a concern to you, you can just turn off the mobile data when you've got the app open or during assessments. Just make sure that you do frequently synchronize your app when you're on a Wi-Fi, so that you have the latest assessment forms available on your phone. Assessments only use data when they are submitted. So the data that you capture remains on your phone until you submit the report, and incomplete assessments cannot be submitted. I'll repeat this a few times. When you open the app on the home page, you will see a very simple layout. There are only 4 options available to you, and you will also see a hamburger menu on the top left-hand side. Opening the top hamburger menu will allow you to view the app's policy, also our contact details. Clicking home again will take you back to the home page and forces the app to resync again, and then clicking on the logout would sign you out of the app. As we've said, the home page is quite simple. There are only 4 options available to you. You can start new assessments by clicking New Assessment. You can view in-progress assessments. Under that option, you can manage your in-progress assessments, and in doing so, you can open, delete, or submit existing assessments. Your completed assessments button gives you management of your completed assessments, in that you can view and delete completed assessments off your device. The unsynced button is something slightly different. It shows you the sync status. It tells you how many assessments are unsynced, and if it's grey, everything's good. If it goes red and shows you the number, you have unsynced assessments. Clicking the button will force a resync. If you click the New Assessment button, it will take you to a page where you select the assessment form you want to use. The list of forms available to you will appear over here. Different user groups will see different types of assessments depending on the work that is being done by them. Selecting the assessment form you want to use takes you to the next page where you select the facility you are going to assess. I would recommend that you start new assessments in the office before traveling to the facility on the same day. If your facility is then not available in that page, you can contact us to urgently add a new facility to the database. Users unfortunately cannot create new facilities themselves, and the reason for this is to prevent the duplication of existing facilities. Once you have selected the facility that you intend to assess, you are taken to this page where you can complete the details of the assessment you intend to undertake. Anything marked with an asterisk indicates compulsory fields that must be completed. The total rooms assessed is one of these compulsory fields. If you're uncertain of the number of rooms to be assessed at the facility, this can be estimated, as it has no further bearing on the assessment. Future versions of this application will complete this field automatically for you. Another field that is completed automatically is the assessment date and time. This cannot be edited once the assessment is started. The tool will also record the finished date and time of the assessment. Selecting map in the bottom right hand corner will open the navigation app for you. It will open your own navigation app, your default navigation app, which could be Google Maps or Waze or something other. This, if you need it, is available in case you want to get navigation directions to the facility, to the address that has been captured for that facility. Then your remaining options are start and back. Select start to create the assessment, or back to discard. At this point, if you select back, the work that you've done to this point, which is not a lot of information, will be discarded. If you click start, this is recorded as the start of an assessment. Incomplete assessments can, however, be deleted later. Having started the assessment, your assessment now becomes active, and an active assessment page is a slightly different layout. You will see that there are new close, delete, and submit buttons at the bottom. The submit button at this stage is inaccessible, as incomplete assessments cannot yet be submitted. Clicking details at the top opens this little page, and that allows you to capture facility management's contact details. These are names and emails. Then selecting questions over here takes you to the pages to complete the assessment, which looks as follows. The question structure for the assessment is hierarchical. Question forms are divided logically into categories, which can be either logical groupings, such as IPC controls, being administration, PPE, environmental engineering, etc., or physical areas such as wards, waiting areas, emergency centers, whatever is available to you. These can be selected. The category titles are the titles in the grey box at the top, and you navigate between these titles with the little arrows on the side. The IPC categories on the basic forms are administrative controls, engineering controls, laboratories, environmental controls, and PPE. The questions within each category are also grouped logically and hierarchically. Clicking the drop-down shows you the questions or the subgroups. Red headers at this level indicate that the questions within the groups are incomplete, whereas green headers show you that that section is complete. You can see your progress in the header. There's a little number available. When you unroll a question group, you can see the questions. Questions can have various answer types. These are either text, some numerical values, or multiple choice options like this. Touching the question gives you more information or instructions on either the criteria of acceptance for that question or a procedure for collecting data. All questions have a common comment field. You can use the comment field for adding detail if additional detail is merited, although sometimes comments are requested by the tips. For instance, if a multiple choice has an option for other, you should normally include a comment to describe what other entails. When you're doing assessments on spaces or rooms within a facility, you'll need to add these rooms manually. Rooms are not pre-populated in the field as categories, and they can be added by the user. Using the buttons on the top right of the form, you'll see the plus and minus there. If you have used names previously, these are recalled and you can add them again and select them, or you can create new names by clicking on the plus instead. So then you can create unique names. Rooms can also be removed if you accidentally add an incorrect name or an additional room that you don't intend to assess. These can be removed before submitting the form. When you create these rooms, they are added to the right in the assessment of your general categories, and you can find them there. Just a tip, when you enter a new room for assessment and you have a CO2 sensor with you, turn that CO2 sensor on when you enter the room, or make sure it stays on, and then set it down but away from ventilation openings and away from people, so that it can warm up and stabilize and be ready for you when you need a reading. While doing the assessment of rooms or spaces, you will see that there are some of these fields that require input from external sensors, such as the CO2 sensor. These are identified by a little Bluetooth symbol, which is clickable. Clicking the symbol takes you to this page, which shows you a list of previously connected devices. If there are none shown, as here, hitting the search icon will give you a list of available sensors. Anything called HMSoft or BTCO2 are highlighted in the list. These are the Bluetooth sensors that we need to be connecting to. For a sensor to be detected, it must be charged and turned on, and within about 10 meters of range. Once you've connected to a sensor, you'll be taken to a list of live streaming measurements. The most recent measurement is at the bottom of the list. The measurements on the capital Z value are the ones that we are concerned about. And just watch them and wait until you get a stable measurement. Stable measurement is where you don't have wild fluctuations of more than about 25 parts per million. You might need to wait about 3 minutes for the sensor to saturate nicely to give you a good reading. If you haven't had enough time, you haven't been in the room long enough, you can complete the other questions. There's a fair amount of questions in the room assessment. You can complete those first and allow the device to give you time for a better reading. Don't be concerned about navigating away from this page. The sensor runs all the time and doesn't need to be on this page, or doesn't need the app to stabilize. When you are ready, you can come back to the reading. If it's stable, select the latest reading and it is automatically copied into the relevant field. You can type over it if you're not happy with the value that's there. Just remember that it must be a numerical field, a numerical value that goes into this. I just want to tell you a little bit about the CO2 sensors that will be distributed. These are handmade by the CSIR. They also connect to the app on your cell phone via a Bluetooth connection. It must be a low energy Bluetooth or Bluetooth 5, so your cell phone must be capable of that. The assessments will require both indoor and outdoor readings, and these readings can take anywhere between 3 to 4 minutes to stabilize, especially if you're moving from rooms with very different concentrations. When you take the readings, there are a few precautions. Don't take readings in direct sunlight if you're outdoors, as the radiant heat of the sun can affect your reading. Also take readings away from obvious CO2 sources like cars or parking lots. You will also need to be careful of not breathing on the sensor or having anybody else breathe on the sensor while you're taking a reading, because the CO2 in your breath can significantly affect the reading. It's advisable to take your outdoor readings before and after your assessment, just so that you can verify that the outdoor CO2 levels haven't changed in the course of your measurements. And then when you have completed your assessment and all the headings are turned green and you're 100% finished, you can submit your report. Incomplete forms cannot be submitted. If there's something outstanding, you'll get a warning. And then also submitted reports cannot be deleted or edited once they are submitted, so you will just be asked to confirm that you really do want to submit. If there's a section of the report which needs to be resynced, or if there's a problem with the sync, you will get a red indicator at this point showing you that there are unsynced items. It's not a problem, just click to resync. You might be asked to just confirm the sync if there's a section of the form that needs to be updated. Don't worry, this will happen automatically. And then once you have synced and uploaded your assessment, that assessment moves to the completed section and they can be viewed over there. So once you've completed your report, submitted it and synced it, a report is automatically prepared and emailed back to you at your username address. These reports are in the form of PDFs. Please then approve these reports and then distribute them to the facilities on your approval. Thank you.